Physical and online options available. Contact the approved provider of the Global Professional HR Certifications in Ghana, the HR Certification Center to sign up. Call or WhatsApp for details 0244 122 855, 0244 122 855. Visit phrglobal.com for more information.
The iMDRIVE Inspirational Morning Drive.
Sunny FM brings you an inspiring and empowering series, Flourish. Join us Monday to Friday for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and personal stories that will motivate and empower women to flourish 360. We'll be diving into topics that matter to women the most. Flourish is more than just a series. It's a supportive community where women can share the experiences, learn from each other, and grow together. Don't miss out. Tune into Sunny 88.7 FM for Flourish. Let's flourish together. Sponsors: Duffy's Health and Beauty, Yumvita, Shea Butter Souvenirs, Black Peacock, Colgate, Nyonyo, Munchies Biscuits, Soko Bags, Polyglath, Black Secret, Deva Products, Ocean Spray, Festival, Trolley Market, and Zara Food.
Okay, so at that drum roll, I'm announcing our Flourish Series episode for today. Just before that, I have a message. Let me do that quickly. It says, JJD, wish my sister from another mother, Nanaraba Afariba Apia Crying Committee Tentema, founder of SPAC Strings, a happy birthday for me. May God bless her all the days of her life. Please play Been So Good to Me by Elevation Worship for her. All right, we'll do that right after our Flourish Series this morning. So I caught up with, I like to call him a sophomore, certified life coach Patrick Otieku Boadu at Mothers Lifting Mothers. And I say, you know, we have to get you back on the radio and for other things. And when the team thought of, you know, the emotionally intelligent woman, and this whole month we're putting together discussions that are relevant to women to be more impactful. He was the first person who came to mind. And so we threw him the invitation. He said yes. He likes to call me boss. I said, oh, you are the senior boss. But he's here this morning. Patrick, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the iMDRIVE. Good morning, boss. Oh. You see, he just did it again. Patrick, as for today, don't call me that. Just call me Jennifer. But how did you feel when we called on you to touch on the emotionally intelligent woman?
It was anyway. Good morning.
Good morning, Patrick.
For me, it was an honor to contribute. I was thinking that this is a women's program, so
why a man?
Me? Yeah, but well, I'm here.
Yes, you're here. We like that you're here because we're hearing from both men and women for this month.
Yeah.
But how relevant do you think this topic is?
Well, we say that emotions are not matter, but they matter. Emotions are not tangible things. They are not concrete things. But if you look at our lives, it runs through our lives. Actually, only 15% of your success are counted by your technical skills.
Only 15%?
Only 15%.
Wow.
85% is accounted for by your people skills. And that is where the emotional intelligence comes in. So it is very, very important. It is not something that we can touch, but it's crucially important. Actually, every single day we are discussing, behaving, acting one way or the other, interpreting and using our emotions. So being intelligent, being how to work through it, it's very, very important.
It's very important. And we're hoping by the end of this interview, you know exactly what emotional intelligence is, what some key characteristics are, how you can develop the traits, and also how it can impact your relationships. I mean, your career, also your success. He's just mentioned the percentage. I'm shocked to know that is less than 15% for your success, but the rest is all dependent on emotional people skills and also some practical strategies. For us, it's very important by the time you're done with this interview, you pick up some practical strategies on how to balance emotional intelligence with assertiveness, because that's important, and also boundary setting. So, Patrick, let's go straight into what exactly is emotional intelligence.
Okay. I'm not going to define. I'll
Okay.
leave that for the academics to define. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a certain process.
Okay.
And then based on that, I'll tell you a few things.
All right.
Number one,
All right.
we pick information from our world. And when I say our world, I'm talking about people, places, things, and events. When everything that we will act or respond or react to is either something that somebody has done, it's about a place, it's about an event, it's about things that we work with. When we pick that information into our system, we have a set of filters. Okay, actually, we pick them through our senses, our sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of touch, whatever. But we have filters in our system, and our filters are determined by things like our values, things that are important to us. So I see you, you probably somebody is suffering. The question is that it bounces off my value system, it bounces off my belief system, okay? It bounces off my memories, it bounces off my perceptions. So once I have these filters and I filter them, then I interpret.
Okay.
My filters produce an interpretation for me. Now, if my interpretation is, I call it matured, okay, so then I am intelligent. I'm able to handle it intelligently. I'm able to interpret it properly. If not, I will not be able to interpret it properly, and therefore that can, sieve through and go into me being emotionally either intelligent or not. Again, the same filters will generate a feeling for me. The question is that the feeling I feel, the sensation I feel, do I know what it means? Can I interpret it? Can I put a name on it? Can I put a label on it and know that, okay, I am upset, what does it mean? I am afraid, what does it mean? I am whatever, I am excited, what does it mean? Then also, the filters also generate a corresponding action where sometimes, based on what we consider as safe, we may act, even before we think.
Yeah.
All these three things I've mentioned, interpretation and then your feeling and action, they generate our behavior. And
Interpretation, feeling, and action.
Corresponding action, it generates our behavior. And our behavior determines our results. Now, the question is that when we say somebody can want a particular result, a particular relationship, a particular, posture. And if you go deeper, you notice that sometimes the problem is coming from the filtering system, how we have been groomed, how we have been encultured over the years. So when somebody says something, what does it bounce off? So I walk into this room, I greeted you good morning, you didn't mind me. Now, what does it mean to me? What is my filtering system telling me?
Okay.
If my filtering system tells me that, oh, you don't respect me and
don't
therefore
like
I must
you.
react in a particular way, that becomes my interpretation. And because of that, then I'm going to react to what you did to me, and then that will not be intelligent. But if I want to be intelligent, I could also say that, okay, my filter tells me that, okay, look, you might be going through a problem, you might be going through a challenge, and let me cut people some slack. This is the morning. I don't know what she's going through. So that filtering system that I have, it changes my interpretation and changes my feeling towards you. I don't feel upset towards you. I now feel, concern towards you. Then also I can respond appropriately, behave rightly towards you, or maybe wait and say that, okay, Jennifer, let me take you for lunch. The reason I'm taking you for lunch is because I want to have a discussion, one-on-one discussion with you about what happened this morning.
Wow.
Then that is maturity, that is intelligence, okay? Instead of just reacting and say, I'll go and tell somebody. Sometimes I don't even tell you.
Yeah.
I go out there and tell somebody, have you seen what Jennifer has done? When I came here, she disrespected me. And maybe for some of the reason, the person even doesn't know.
Yeah.
So we need to look at
a couple of times.
Yes.
I've seen somebody from afar. In my mind, I've said I was going to greet the person, and then it dawns on me like a few minutes later. I'm like, I said I'm going to greet this person. Where is he? Then I realize I passed the person without even saying hello. Because my mind was like pretty far away.
Exactly. So we need to. So there are a number of things that we need to do to help us build that intelligence.
Okay.
And that is number one. Let us now, if for a long time the results you are looking for, your relationships, is not working, please, it's time for you to check your filtering system.
And just before he continues about checking the filtering system, remember that we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, also on Sunny TV. And I think this is a very relevant discussion. Some of us are having challenges in our relationships, whether in marriage, the people we are dating, in the office with the people we work with, all around. You just may pick up a thing or two that may be helpful in changing some circumstances around you. So if you have a question, you have some kind of contribution, remember, you can always join us via WhatsApp. You can send a message 0540 130 684. That is 0540 130 684. You can send us your message if you have one, and Patrick is more than happy to respond to you. You were talking about the filtering system, and I don't know if we can link that to some characteristics of an emotionally intelligent person.
Yeah. So if your filtering system, okay, the question is that how were you brought up? Okay, so you've been encultured, your school you attended, and all the experience you've had in the past, some emotional milestones. How does it make you become? It's created a certain personality, and therefore you need to query that your filtering system. You need to query it. And sometimes there's some people, the little thing they are triggered. Why are they triggered? It's because maybe they are unresolved trauma and things like that. So these are things you will need to be very open, wake up to it, and then own up to the reality and say that, you know what, I think over the years I get angry about this, I get upset about this little thing, and therefore I need to do something about my filtering system. And when you change your filtering system, so again, just example, you married 7 years ago, and you've started fighting over toothpaste. Where am I pressing? 7 years down the line, you are fighting over the same thing. You haven't matured. That is emotionally, you're not intelligent emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Because by now you should know that this guy may not change, this woman may not change, this is how the thing is. So I will have to change my approach. In other words, I need to change my filter such that those things do not affect me that way. Those do not impact me that much, and therefore I can still relate with the person, flow with the person, go and do my work and everything without necessarily becoming reactive towards what the person is doing. It's all because I have managed to work on my filtering system. Okay, and usually the reason why you need to work on your filtering system is check whether you are getting the kind of results you are getting. Let me come back to the interpretation.
Sure.
The interpretation is another place where we get it wrong. Okay, and that is what shows that we are not intelligent emotionally. So check your filters will now generate interpretation. So check your interpretation. What you put on things. Sometimes it may not be true. Sometimes we sometimes ascribe some powers to something, and sometimes we are afraid of things and all that. A lot of the time, people like we try to interpret the thing as spiritual and and that kind of thing. But sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is just a little bit of common sense, that we need to apply. And there's no demon
Patrick,
chasing.
sometimes a lot of common sense.
Yeah. Sometimes there's no black goat or black sheep chasing you anywhere. But we don't do that, and that is also, again, it goes back to tell us about the maturity, the intelligence part of it, and then also the feeling that we have. How do you regulate the feeling? So if I feel this way, do I go and shout at the person? Do I go and jump at the person? That is where regulation comes in. So now I say that, you know what, I feel this way, but let me hold on, okay? And then do it this way and do it that way. That is an intelligent person.
But some people say it's a sign of weakness. If something happened, deal with it right now. Let's all move on. What do you have to say about that?
Timing is very important. The fact that, something has happened does not necessarily mean you have to deal with it there and there. Yes, some of them you have to deal with it there and there. But the question is that even determining when to deal with it itself is maturity.
Okay.
Itself is intelligence.
This is Sunny 88.7 FM. We're with certified life coach Patrick Otieku. We're talking about the emotionally intelligent woman. And Patrick, I know you've worked with people for so many years, and you've seen a lot. You've heard a lot. Can you share with us how you've seen emotional intelligence impact relationships, career, success? If you have a couple of stories you can share with us,
Okay, so I work with a lady. She's in London, and she having problems with her marriage. Now, there's a chart I have developed by Dr. Hawkins. The chart at the base level, they use what we call muzzle testing, advanced form of calibration to do muzzle testing. The lower part is red, going to the have orange, and you go to the green, and you go to the blue. Blue, we are talking about peace. We are talking about love. We are talking about joy. Down, we are talking about shame. We are talking about anger. We are talking about whatever. And I asked her, where do you find yourself most of the time? He said, I found myself in the orange. And the orange is anger, it's pride, it's all those things. Now, obviously, if you live in that zone, frequency, you will attract people from that frequency. Okay, if you live in a lower frequency, in other words, I'm talking about negative emotions, you will attract a lot of people from there. Because remember, it's about right of way. For instance, why do you get angry? You get angry because you want a right of way. You want something to be done in a particular way. Yeah. Okay, now remember, when you meet me and I also have my right of way, then that'll be where the conflict comes in. Okay, so your right of way that will not always get you through where you want to go. And then you have your right of way, your spouse has his right of way. That is where the conflict begins. Now, then the kids also come in. Your office, the same thing. Now you create that kind of a toxic environment where people cannot function anymore. And therefore, it is not helpful, okay? And most of the time, sometimes you see there are very, very trivial issues about interpretation. Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you do this? Why haven't you done this? Why
responded
haven't you done
to my
this?
message.
One other thing that is even one other thing, we also like to catastrophize.
Break that down.
We make little things too big. Sometimes it's just something little. And so I usually say that Obiewa. If you are talking plenty, but has anybody died?
No.
Nobody has died. Please, let's move on. I say that if I'm driving and I cross a taxi driver and they say I'm a goat, I look into my car, there's no goat. I drive away.
I don't look like one. I mean, that's what I told myself now. They insulted me. I don't look like what they said.
No, I drive away.
Yeah.
For somebody, you want to feel like, and again, that is where ego and all those things begin. They come in there and they destroy. You need a peace of mind, and therefore, desire for peace, desire for a higher level, a higher frequency, desire for higher, and I'm talking about the peace, the love, the joy, the calmness, the reflection and all. That is where we have to live,
as we're talking about being crossed by whether it's a taxi driver, trotro driver, I saw online this was road rage in the U.S. where somebody crossed another person and somebody takes a gun. I mean, you try to confront the person. The U.S. is pretty crazy. Maybe in Ghana, we've not seen that. That's why we also get out and we're fighting. But in the U.S., you could be buried the next day. So it can get crazy. Well, Chichi has joined us this morning. Remember, we're live on social media handles. Also, you can watch us on Sunny TV. And Chichi says, hey, this toothpaste matter. I should have seen this earlier when you're talking about it. And she said, I press the middle and any other part. But my hubby presses from the bottom. So I realized he now folds the bottom and secures it with my hairpin. Oh, what a way to resolve this issue. Case closed, fight closed. My hubby must be very emotionally touched. I think we should give it up for this man because I think people are still trying to find a solution to this problem in their home. And I think she just shared a solution. Patrick, you've shared a lot, and you talked about being able to cultivate certain energies around us, joy. And how do we go about that? How do we go about and develop these traits?
Okay. There's a portion of your brain that is called the prefrontal cortex that must be developed. And that is the part of you that makes choices. Okay. There is a part of you that is unconscious part, the limbic brain, that does not make choices at all. It just responds to safety. What it determines as safe is what it does. So what it determines as safe may be emotionally not intelligent in a certain situation. So what you need to do is that things you need to do, things you need to watch, get yourself exposed to people who are mature, talk to mentors, talk to people who have gone through that path before, and let them give you their perspective. Read books and then know more about a particular situation, particular context, and then apply it to your life. Again, I think that let's come back to our interpretation. Most of the time, check your interpretation. Check your interpretation. And again, there are things you also need to consider. Can you do something about it? Is it within your control? There are some things that are out of your control. There are some things that you can only influence, and there are some things that is out of your control. Anything that is out of your control, don't waste energy, don't waste time, don't waste resources on it. Anything that is within your influence, work through other people. Work through other people. So again, if you feel that this particular situation could be volatile, if you approach it, why don't you get somebody, maybe a senior person, a trusted friend, let a person take the lead and go and so, because you know that maybe when you go and talk to this person,
it will be
fire for fire. So why don't you let somebody tone it down, and so that you can still maintain the relationship. And again, sometimes we don't even know what we want. We don't determine what we want from the onset. If I'm in a relationship and I know that I'm not going anywhere in this relationship, then I must also weigh my words.
Okay.
I must weigh my words, because I know there are some words when I say it, I issue it today. We say that physical pain or physical harm, I can hit you with a stick. That is not as painful as when I hit you with my words. So let's weigh the words. So before, and that is part of the regulation I'm talking about, self-regulation. Before I I might be upset, yes, but before I open my mouth to speak, I must, if I'm intelligent and I'm matured, I weigh my words before I issue it.
So those who say, as for me, I'm plain, I say it as it is. What's the effect?
The question is that what results is it giving you? How is it maintaining your relationships? Check that. If you don't care about those relationships, fine. It means that, yes, that is who you are. You may be plain, but at certain times you need to, that is where the regulation comes in.
Or even measure how
exactly
you're being plain about the issue. It's important.
Yes. How much weight? What do you have to say? At what time? What should be the tone? You get what I'm saying? So these are things you need to look at. And before you speak, if your prefrontal cortex is active, then all these things would have been evaluated, because that is where you do judgment. You do evaluations before you speak to the person.
Okay.
You don't just say this. This is how I feel, and I'm telling you my peace of mind and all
and
that.
now I feel free.
And then for the rest of your life, you don't have a good relationship with the person. There are some people, of course, you don't care. I mean, you don't see them again. Maybe some people they'll be out of your life for the rest of your life. But there's some people, your spouse, your children, they are there with you and need to be very careful and have intelligence.
Thank you so much, Patrick. That's very helpful. And I wish you can share with us some practical strategies for women listening in to balance emotional intelligence with assertiveness.
Okay.
And then boundary setting. I mean, especially in situations where you're feeling pressurized. I mean, pressure to prioritize other people's needs above yours. How do we place everything in the right place?
Keep the future in mind, because everything you are doing, the question is that where is it going to lead you? Where is it going to take you? Where's the destination? Okay, if I know that there's the future, then I step back and I know that, okay, this is how I have to behave towards that particular future, because this is the future results that I'm looking for. If you don't do it that way, then you do something to the end and you lose the future with a particular person. So let's also weigh it from that perspective. Yeah.
This is Sunny 88.7, and we've been talking about the emotionally intelligent woman right here on the iMDRIVE with Patrick Otieku Boadu. And as we wrap up, I'd just like to ask him finally what he'd like to share to encourage someone in the office right now, someone on their way to work, somebody at home right now. What would you have to share with them, Patrick?
I think we must choose to operate on a higher frequency. When I say higher frequency, it's not everything you have to give your attention to. It's not everything you have to give resources to, because you need that resource for other things. You need that resource to chase your goals, to develop yourself, to become a better person, so you need resources. So if you channel everything into anger, into negative emotions, then remember, some of the emotions are depressive. Some of them are they drain you. Let me put it that way. Some of them too, they depress you. So you need to be very careful. Some of them will agitate you. You need to be very careful the kind of emotion that you are utilizing for which it would determine whether it's draining you, it's empowering you, and helping you or whatever. So that at the end of the day you be a better person, not only to other people but to yourself. You be proud of yourself in the first place.
Thank you so much, Patrick. This has been the Flourish Series on the iMDRIVE. We've been talking about the emotionally intelligent woman, and I'm hoping we can have Patrick some time again. I'm not sure it'll be the